Lee Zeldin, I've never had the desire, nor have I ever made out with a man, but today I would consider it. You are the greatest man alive today. Thank you for everything that you and Donald Trump have done and announced yesterday.
Well, listen, it was a big deal, and we were excited to be there in the Roosevelt Room to announce it. As you pointed out, the largest act of deregulation in the history of the United States, $1.3 trillion. And a smart guy like you who's been following Supreme Court cases, and you know the timeline, this has been a long time coming. The left, they created this endangerment finding to hoard power in a very unique interpretation of the Clean Air Act that is not allowed under any best reading of it. And they did trillions of dollars of regulation on mobile sources, airplanes, stationary sources, oil and gas. There's so much control that they hoarded, and we just went right for the root. The endangerment finding, the best reading of the Clean Air Act. We know that this is a durable decision that I signed yesterday after Loper Bright and West Virginia versus EPA and Michigan versus EPA. If you want the law to say that EPA should be regulating the heck out of greenhouse gas emissions, that is a topic for a debate and a vote in Congress, not a rogue, unelected bureaucrat at a federal agency.
Yes. I mean, I was just talking to the insiders, during the break, and I said, one reason why a Kia looks like a Genesis and a Genesis looks like a Bentley and the Bentley looks like the Mercedes is that cars you can't design cars to look any different because the regulations are so heavy. You can't add any drag to any cars, so everything starts to look meh. And that's one of the things that I don't think even people even think about, let alone, your lighting, your shower head, your water pressure, the money that you're going to save just because trucks are not going to have to spend as much money. So trucking goes down. Any idea how much money we're looking at possible savings for the American people?
Yes, a new vehicle is going to cost over $2,400 less on average now that this decision has been signed. And on top of it all, as an added bonus, we got rid of the Obama switch, the climate participation trophy for manufacturers, of adding that annoying start-stop feature in vehicles that make your car die at red light and stop sign. That off-cycle credit, all off-cycle credits are gone.
I mean, you're talking sexy talk. When you're talking about getting that thing out of my car, you had me at hello.
Amen.
How long before we start to see those savings?
Immediately.
Because everything takes time.
The president came in January of 2025. This was a day one executive order. So as far as signaling to auto manufacturers that the president was focused on it, that was a day one message that was sent. We announced on March 12th that we were going to be pursuing this effort. We did the public comment. We followed all of the rules of the Administrative Procedures Act. I read the final decision before signing it yesterday, and this thing is airtight. I referenced Loper Bright a second ago, the Supreme Court case overturning the Chevron doctrine. When the 2009 endangerment finding was done, the Obama administration, the EPA administrator, was creatively interpreting the Clean Air Act to say, well, if it doesn't say I can't, I guess that means we can. Well, the Supreme Court said in Loper Bright, that's not how it works. You have to follow the best reading of the law. And then I also referenced West Virginia versus EPA as an example, the major policies doctrine. If you're going to do trillions of dollars of regulation, that is something that is for Congress. And as far as this decision itself, it was loaded with so many mental leaps. They said that when carbon dioxide was mixed with 5 other well-mixed gases, some of them not even emitted from vehicles, that it contributes, not causes, contributes to global climate change, that you won't find that in Section 202 of the Clean Air Act. And they say global climate change endangers public health and welfare without analyzing the local and regional impacts, which is the way that it was always done for decades. When you actually dig into what the law says, the Obama administration decided, well, I guess we have to change the law. They tried to get the votes in Congress. And then when they couldn't get the votes, they said, well, I guess we're just going to have to do it anyway. Well, fast forward to 2026, game over. The endangerment finding is gone.
So with a lot of the stuff that Trump has done, because we can't seem to get Congress to really do anything, he's had to do it through executive order, et cetera, et cetera. And then I worry about codifying things. But this one is different because this one's all based on the Supreme Court wins, right?
Right. And it's also based off of what the law doesn't allow. This is a best reading of the Clean Air Act, which does not say that we should be regulating an emission to combat global climate change. And you could ignore all of the bad guesses of Al Gore and John Kerry and others. You can replace all of the bad, flawed assumptions on science that were made in 2009 with the most pessimistic predictions that didn't bear out as we look at facts in 2026. Regardless of where anyone is on their opinion or the fact on the science debate, the reality is the Clean Air Act does not authorize this, that Congress would have to pass a new law in order to have the trillions of dollars of regulation. So, yeah, no, it doesn't have to be codified. And quite frankly, because of the Supreme Court precedent, if the pendulum swung one day down the road, that some far-left Democrat gets elected president and they have, somebody running the EPA and they're trying to go back to it. The problem is that the Clean Air Act is still going to give them the same problem. And Loper Bright is on the books and it says you can't just make it up. And now manufacturers can make vehicles that consumers actually want rather than what politicians demand. And when you combine this decision with the resetting of the CAFE standards with Secretary Duffy and DOT and the president, when you combine it with getting rid of the electric vehicle mandate with the 3 Congressional Review Act bills that Congress passed and President Trump signed, you add the new investments that have been announced, billions of these different manufacturers, and the jobs that come with it, it all adds up for a very positive 1 year for the U.S. auto industry.
So is it going to make the U.S. auto harder to sell in places like the EU? Because they've gone full-fledged insane. Right now, I mean, Ford F-150s. I don't think a single Ford F-150, best-selling car in America, has been sold in Europe. And it's not just the size of it. It's all of the regulations and the tariffs that hopefully Donald Trump is really making a real dent in. But if we relax our regulations, will it be harder for us to sell something in Europe?
Well, I'm confident that there's going to be more F-150s that are going to get built and less electric vehicles that sit on dealership lots and remaining unsold.
Good.
Now, it was a couple months ago, I was at the G7 Energy and Environment Ministers meeting that was in Toronto, Canada, and I could tell that these European countries are really feeling the strain of how they have chosen to protect the environment over growing the economy. See, the Trump administration believes that you could protect the environment and grow the economy. The economic cost of the climate goals that they were set it's coming home to roost right now. And these European countries are facing a reality where, they'll make their decisions in the months and the years to come, but they clearly are in a really bad place right now. And they're rethinking certain policies. Now, how much of that they say publicly versus privately, I don't know. We'll see. But when I was in that meeting and we were having these conversations, clearly they are feeling the economic pressure of their environmental policies.
I have to tell you, I think when America becomes more than competitive, I mean, when we're going in a different direction and it's cheaper and it's better, I just think the world needed leadership. And the world now has leadership. And I think these countries they're just going to collapse on their own weight on things like this. One last thing, Lee, and you kind of addressed it, but I want to make sure, because, this is conservative heaven right now. But for middle class, lower class Democrats, this is really good for them as well. Can you speak to somebody who didn't vote for Donald Trump and, thinks that, this is going to, you're not listening to science?
This is about more consumer choice. This is about having more affordable vehicles. And by the way, when you make the trucks more affordable that deliver all of those consumer goods that you purchase in your daily lives, the cost of living across the board is able to go down. $1.3 trillion. Now, too often when you start talking millions and billions and trillions, a lot of people just kind of view it all as the same.
Yeah.
These are big numbers. $1.3 trillion is one massive number. When you're talking about $2,400 to purchase a new vehicle, $2,400 less, it's more mobility, more economic mobility. It's the ability to be able to get to work, to get to church. It's the ability to have more money available for healthcare, for education, and the other costs of life. And I was just asked about fossil fuels, and the question was asked in a way as if we should be getting rid of it. And I mean, just look back at the last few weeks. The temperatures across this entire country. Thank God President Trump has been unleashing energy dominance. Thank God we have baseload power, reliable coal and natural gas and oil that's kept our country warm. For the person that you're talking about, that low income, that middle income family, that person who's been struggling, imagine going through the last few weeks without heat. The president's policies, especially when you add them all up, and it's only been 1 year, we still have 3 more years of this. There's a lot that's been fixed. There's a lot more to fix, and I'm just really honored to have a part of it.
Well, I tell you, Lee, you were on the show, I don't know, about a year ago, and you said you were going to do this, and you said that, the president was on it, and the president had told me he was going to do this. And it is nice to see politicians and people in government actually do what they say they're going to do. Congratulations, and please congratulate the president on this as well. Great news.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you. You bet, Lee.